Okay, so we've all heard of the giants of psychology, right? Freud, Jung, they're like the rock stars. But what about the third giant, Alfred Adler? This guy's ideas were so revolutionary, so out there, people said he was 100 years ahead of his time. Today, we're going to dive into his work, which offers a really direct and kind of challenging path to happiness. And it all kicks off with one simple question.
You know how we're always told that our past basically defines our present, that all our childhood traumas and past experiences are like these unchangeable chains that determine who we are today? It's a compelling story, one we hear all the time. But Adler, he came along with a completely radical alternative.
All right, so what we're looking at here is a huge clash of ideas. On one side, you've got Freud and his whole thing called etiology, which is just a fancy word for the study of causes. The idea here is that your past literally determines your present. It's like a heavy anchor just holding you back. But then on the other side, you've got Adler's teleology, the study of purpose. He's saying, nope, we're not driven by what happened in the past, we're pulled forward by the goals we have right now. It's like following a guiding star instead of being dragged by an anchor. This is a massive shift from most therapy today, which is so often about digging into the past. Adler says all the power is right here in the present.
I know, this whole goals not causes thing can sound a bit heady. So let's make it super concrete with a real-world example straight from the book.
So imagine this. You have a friend who's basically shut himself in his room for years. He can't go out, he's full of potential, wants to get a job, wants to change, but he's just stuck, totally paralyzed by anxiety. We've all heard stories like this, right?
So what's our first thought? Our immediate instinct, especially from that traditional Freudian point of view, is to look for a cause in his past. What happened to him? Was he bullied? Was there some kind of trauma? We're trying to connect the dots, find the cause for this effect. That's etiology in action.
But Adler, whoa, he just flips the whole thing on its head. He'd say, what if this friend has a secret goal of not going out? Maybe, just maybe, staying inside gets him his parents' complete undivided attention and worry. So to achieve that goal, he creates a state of anxiety as a reason. Now, get this. The anxiety is totally real. He's not faking it, but it's a tool he's using for a purpose.
And that's the crucial point right there. This idea of teleology, it's saying we are not puppets of our past. We are the ones in charge. We give meaning to our experiences to help us reach our current goals. The past doesn't have the final say, ever.
Okay, so this doesn't just stop at big life behaviors. Adler says this applies to our emotions too. Yep, even our emotions. Let's take a look at one we've all definitely felt: anger.
This story from the book is the perfect example. Picture this. A mother and daughter are in this huge, screaming argument. Then suddenly, the phone rings. The mother picks it up, and instantly her voice is calm, polite. Hello. She finishes the call, hangs up, and bam, she's right back to yelling at her daughter. See? She wasn't possessed by some uncontrollable rage. If she were, she couldn't just turn it off like a light switch. She was using anger to overpower her daughter and make her point. It was just a tool.
That's it, right there. Anger is just a tool we can pull out of the toolbox when we need it. We manufacture it to make another person give in, and fast, without having to bother with a logical conversation. It's not that we fly into a rage and then start shouting. We get angry so that we can shout.
Okay, so if our actions and our emotions are all about reaching certain goals, what's the source of all these goals and all the problems they cause? Well, Adler has an answer that is shockingly simple.
And this might be one of Adler's biggest, most challenging ideas. He says that literally all of our problems, every single one, are interpersonal relationship problems. Your feelings of being not good enough, your anxiety, your suffering. At its root, it all comes down to other people. Think about it. If you were the only person in the entire universe, you'd have zero problems.
This even explains why we sometimes dislike ourselves. I mean, why would anyone choose to feel bad about themselves? From Adler's point of view, it's a goal. The goal is to avoid getting hurt in relationships. It's like a preemptive defense. If you decide ahead of time that you're flawed and unlovable, then when someone rejects you, well, it doesn't sting as much, does it? You've already given yourself a reason for it to happen.
So if all our problems come from other people, how on earth are we supposed to deal with that without getting totally crushed? Well, Adler gives us this really practical, powerful tool. He calls it the separation of tasks. And it's all about drawing a clear line, figuring out what's your job and what's someone else's job.
Let's use a classic example we can all relate to. Your boss is being totally irrational. Okay, what is your task here? It's to do your job as best you can. It's to choose how you respond. It's to decide if this job is even right for you. That's it. That's your lane. Now, what is their task? How they feel about your work, whether they decide to fly off the handle, that's on them. That's their task, not yours. You can't control it. And the minute you realize that and focus only on your tasks, you drop this huge, heavy weight of trying to manage everyone else's feelings.
And you know what? When you really start doing this, when you start separating tasks, you're actually taking your first steps on the path to what Adler called true freedom. But getting there means you have to let go of something that drives almost all of us.
So many of us are just trapped by this constant need for recognition, right? We want our parents to be proud, our boss to approve, our friends to like us. But Adler's point is this: the moment you make satisfying other people's expectations your main goal, you're not living your life anymore. You're living theirs. You've basically handed them the keys to your car.
So yeah, the path to freedom is pretty radical. It means you have to consciously decide to stop trying to please everyone. You have to stop seeking recognition, separate your tasks, and just accept that, hey, some people might not like you for your choices. And that journey, from needing everyone's approval to just walking your own path, that's the very heart of Adler's philosophy. And here it is. This is probably Adler's most powerful and maybe hardest message to hear. Your unhappiness? It's not because of your past. It's not because you're not smart enough or talented enough. He says it's because you lack courage. Simple as that. The courage to choose to live differently.
And when we don't have that courage, we start telling ourselves what Adler called a life lie. It's basically all the excuses we make up to avoid dealing with life's challenges head-on. You know, I can't be successful because my boss is terrible, or I'll never be happy because of my childhood. It's a bit like saying you can't learn to swim because you're scared of the water. The fear is real for sure, but the I can't part, that's the lie we tell ourselves so we don't have to jump in the pool. Which brings us right back to the core idea of it all. The moment you stop trying to meet everyone else's expectations and you separate what's your business from what's theirs, you become free. But there's a price for that freedom. And that price is being okay with some people not liking you for it. Real freedom? It's the courage to be disliked.
So in the end, Adler's psychology isn't about what you're capable of or what life threw at you. It's all about courage. It's asking us, all of us, to stop blaming our past, stop blaming our environment, and instead to choose our lives right here, right now. So the real question isn't, can you be happy? The question is, do you have the courage to be happy?